Okay, hi. I'm Grace Mosier. I'm in your Psychonomic class, and I'm in section 5795. Okay, so why did I pick, and my presentation is on procrastination. So why did I pick procrastination? Well, there are some obvious reasons. Basically, I spent a lot of time thinking about what I was going to do for this presentation, and it took me a while to do that. And then I realized that what I was doing, which is really procrastinating on the project, would be the perfect subject, because we have kind of indirectly talked about it through motivation and kind of through personality. So for motivation, with like self-regulation and delayed gratification, obviously like procrastination is not being able to delay gratification and not self-regulating well. Intrinsic and extrinsic motivation probably has something to do with it. And also for personality, the id would be like the impulse to procrastinate. Defense mechanisms and the big five personality traits probably have something to do with it as well. Or at least that's what I was thinking in the beginning. And I was curious about like what it actually is and why certain people seem more prone to procrastinating than others, and why people are, more likely to not procrastinate, or they just don't procrastinate. So in my research of procrastination, I used the JC library online, obviously, and I focused on like the peer-reviewed journal articles. There were so many of them, and I was really excited at first because so many of them were so specific about like what aspect of procrastination they were talking about, and how they related to other very specific parts of psychology and procrastination, personality, and everything. But there were just way too many. So I had to focus to just two of those for at least this presentation. And then I also used some non-scholarly articles, like from the New York Times, to kind of give myself an overview of like what procrastination is, how it affects people, like how people can help themselves to stop procrastinating. The non-scholarly articles tend to be like a synthesis of research previously made, so I felt relatively confident using those. And then obviously I used the scholarly articles for the more specific, like how and why procrastination is what it is and why people keep doing it, how it works, and stuff like that. So what is procrastination? It's putting off a task to a later date when you know in that moment that what you're doing is hurting you in the long run. Some common misconceptions is that it's not about laziness or time management, actually, although time management is kind of debatable for time management. But some people think it's helpful to procrastinate, like if you're doing certain tasks before others that help you reach your end goal. That's not actually procrastination, because that's proactive and that's helping you in the long run, but procrastination doesn't help you in the long run. A lot of people think that if you just tell a procrastinator to just do it, it'll like help them, which obviously it won't. It's deeper than just that. And a good quote by named Joseph Ferrari. He's a professor of psychology at DePaul University. He says, "While everyone may procrastinate, not everyone is a procrastinator." So that's a good segue into what procrastination actually is, which is it's complex. Being a procrastinator is a lot more than just like I said, being lazy. So it's emotional, so it has to do with a lot of negative emotions that you feel towards doing the task. It's self-aware, so you know, like I said, you know it will hurt you in the long run. Obviously it's irrational, but it's a way of coping with the negative emotions, and obviously it tends to be a bad habit that people, it's cyclical, and it's a bad habit that people tend to not be able to break. So, first, why it is what it is. First article that I will be focusing on is, obviously, the role of personality in motivational regulation and academic procrastination. So, basically, this article studied college students, first-year college students from Croatia, actually, and it investigated the role of personality dimensions, or the role of, the role of personality in self-regulation of motivation, and the role of self-regulation of motivation and how that relates to procrastination, and also the mediating role of self-regulation. So, yes. So basically what they found with personality is that differences in personality are definitely associated in meaningful ways with self-regulation and motivation, and therefore procrastination. So people who were higher in extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, intellect, and neuroticism all tended to use more motivational regulation strategies, which are obviously they're ways to help you actually be motivated and to do a task and actually do the task. Yeah. So, and motivational regulation did have a mediational role in the relationship between personality and procrastination. So basically, students like who are conscientious and agreeable, have high intellect, they are, and then this also connected to environmental control, which, because their personality traits are like that, they tend to be able to choose and arrange an environment for themselves in which they, which is good for their learning. So it has an indirect effect on personality has an indirect effect on procrastination. So obviously this has implications for education because teachers can, if they know that, they can realize that their students who all have different personalities and personality traits that can influence their procrastination and therefore their academic success. And also, the study recommended having teachers teach students motivational regulation systems. So, then the second article I found really interesting. It talked about procrastination in pigeons. So, some important background is that there is procrastination and there's also precrastination. So precrastination is doing an action before you actually need to do it. So there have been previous studies about people precrastinating and why they may do that and why they may not. There have been previous studies on pigeons too that have shown that they will precrastinate. But this specific one wanted to see if pigeons would procrastinate or precrastinate when given the option between two scenarios. Basically, the first one is to they had to peck for 15 seconds, and then with one color, and then 5 seconds of another color, and then they were presented with reinforcement, or do 5 seconds of one color, and then 15 seconds of another color, and then get reinforcement. And they found that pigeons procrastinated. They tended to choose the one with the 5 seconds at the end. And that is consistent with Fantino's delay reduction theory, which is basically you prefer scenarios where you want the delay between your action and the reinforcement to be as short as possible. And the reduction in that delay obviously makes it a stronger conditioned reinforcer. So it's like it conditions it more stronger. So obviously pigeons aren't humans, and this study doesn't actually really look at the emotional aspects of procrastination, but it still kind of has implications for humans and why procrastination may become such a chronic habit, because there's so much anxiety built up at the last 5 seconds of one color at the end, that when the work and the relief are closer together, so it's a reinforcer of the procrastination habit, actually. So basically, my conclusions is general takeaways. There are so many aspects of procrastination that are related to psychology, personality, motivation, the emotions. There have been, studies about how self-compassion has a huge role in procrastination, and self-efficacy. So if you, believe that you can do something, if you accept that you're going to maybe make mistakes and be okay with that, then you probably won't procrastinate as much. And then obviously, like I said with the pigeon study, reinforcement, it tends to be, it reinforces itself, basically, when you procrastinate. So for me personally, so in the first study I mentioned, it talked about motivational regulation strategies. I will probably try to look into those. There's stuff like I forget the name, but it's basically talking yourself into feeling better about the task that you're about to do. So maybe I'll look into some of those strategies. Because like I said, I'm a procrastinator, so I definitely focused on what I can do to improve my procrastination and not have it be as stressful for myself. When I set goals, I'm probably going to have more specific, actionable goals rather than just having a big daunting task that I need to do. I will probably build the connection to my future self through visualization and, ignoring present bias, which is where, the negative emotions that come with procrastination is seen as the immediate threat. So the bias, you tend to want to fix those first, and which means avoiding the task that I would actually have to do. So visualizing myself doing the task, making that connection will ideally make it easier for me to not procrastinate. And, going through my emotions and why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, towards doing a task, will hopefully help with task aversion, which is a huge part of procrastination. And, so things like perfectionism I need to work on. And self-efficacy and self-compassion is a huge part of helping procrastination, and I think that will help me a lot because I'm insecure with the work that I do a lot of the times. And my reward system, I don't want procrastination to reinforce itself, so I'll probably change some stuff around with how I reward myself for doing work. So here are some of my sources. And in the last little bit of this, because I went over, I just want to let you know I'm doing well, my family's doing well. It's been stressful for me because I am a procrastinator. This last week of school has been a lot for me, and I'm worried about next semester. But I do think it's all going to be okay, especially now with my knowledge from researching for this project. But I hope you're doing well. I'm excited that you're teaching at the JC full-time now.